everyone, welcome back to our fourth episode. We're really happy that you're joining us today because today we have a really exciting topic, and by the title you can probably tell it is all about can art be judged. Before I really want to start on this topic, I found something a while back that I thought would be interesting to bring into this podcast, which is a question, or not a question, but more like 36 questions that can lead you to falling in love with someone. Have you ever heard of this before?
You've mentioned it to me before, and maybe you've asked me some of the questions that I wouldn't know if you asked me some of the questions, because I haven't actually looked into it at all, but you have definitely mentioned it at some point to me.
Okay, well, I'll explain it to you and to anyone who doesn't really know what this is. So it's basically like this study that's done by this psychologist called Arthur Aaron and a few others, who came up with 36 questions, very specific questions, not ones that you would normally ask on like a first date, like what are you doing for a living, where do you study, what are your hobbies, those kind of things. But 36 questions that are very like personal and intended to bring two people close together, and two people that ideally have not really met before. So I thought it would be kind of interesting, although I don't really intend to like fall in love with you, but you know, if it happens, it happens. But I thought it would be interesting to like give you two questions and we can just like have a quick discussion on that.
Yep.
Okay, so for what in your life do you feel most grateful for?
I would say I'm most grateful for the opportunities that my parents have given me. I feel like that's a very, like, typical answer.
No.
In terms of, like...
It's good, though.
I feel like a lot of people would say that. But, I wouldn't say, like, I'm grateful for, like, just everything that I've been given. I'd say, like, specifically most grateful for would be the opportunities that my parents have created for me, in terms of like the things that they did in the past that have led to me being able to do things now. In terms of like, there's like the fact that they decided that they would leave their home country to start like off brand new with like actually like no money when they came over.
Yeah.
I think that was like a move that was very hard for them, but because of that move, I've been able to live like comfortably in like the last 19 years of my life, and I will continue to live comfortably because of these opportunities, like schooling, not having to worry about like kind of making money for my family, not really having to worry that much in terms of like not having to drop out of school as well, because a lot of my cousins back in Vietnam had to drop out of like high school to like start working, and really early on, like at 15 and stuff, to support their families. And that's like a really important thing to me, because I've been like I grew up seeing studying as like kind of a chore. I didn't really like it. But if I look back and I see like the life that I've had so far versus the life that like some of my cousins have had in their home country, it's very different. And I definitely do have a lot more opportunities than them to become more successful.
Yeah. And by successful, is that money?
In a sense, like financially successful, like that's kind of not too important. Like I don't mean like, oh, I want to be financially successful in terms of like, oh, becoming a millionaire. Like I think it's like financially successful as in being comfortable.
Okay, yeah.
And not having to worry about like, oh, how I'm gonna like pay bills and stuff.
Okay, that's good though. This is a very like, I don't know if you're able to answer this question. We're going on a bit of a tangent here, but how would you know at what point in your life do you think you'll be like, okay, yes, I've definitely achieved what I want? Do you have a goal for like where you want to be? Like your end goal, I guess?
I don't think I have like a complete end goal in terms of like as in like for the rest of my life. I don't really have that kind of goal. I think like my goal is just to be able to set myself up so I can like chill and also like provide for my parents and kind of like not having to worry about money. That's actually like a really big part of what I want to be able to do. Emotional like happiness, emotional fulfillment, I'm not really as worried about because I'm kind of like, it'll happen when it happens. If it doesn't happen, like, I don't have to.
Do you mean like romantic
Yeah.
relationships or just any emotional fulfillment?
I think like in terms of like, it's more, this is geared more towards like having a romantic relationship. Like, I don't mind too much if like I don't get married at a young age, like if I don't get to have like kids. It's not really a thing that I would worry about too much because I really believe like if something will happen, it'll happen. If it doesn't, like we can't really force it.
Yeah.
I think like there's certain things that we can work towards, like financial like fulfillment, like financial success, but there's things like emotional success that like you can't really like physically work towards it in that sense.
I think you definitely can. I mean, isn't that the whole point of like counseling therapy is like you're trying to become emotionally better, and it's not just something that like you have to just wait for. There are like strategies and methods that you can do to help you improve.
Like, it's like, I think you can to some extent. Like, I don't think that you can kind of like, it's not something you can like kind of like straightforwardly work towards. Like, you know how like studying, you just like, you sit down, you study, and like you do your exam, you do practice exams, you kind of like, there's that way to prepare for it. But like personally, I don't really see a way for me to like kind of get emotional fulfillment in such a straightforward way.
I do think that like it's a lot harder for people who are already like, I guess, happy with where they're at right now to become happier just by like I think to become happier if you're already at like a pretty good level, that's just something that you'll have to like wait for and let like time do its thing. But if you're someone that is lacking that emotional stability and that happiness, then you definitely can get better by like, I don't know. But they're like strategies, right?
Yeah. Definitely there are strategies to help people, but I just don't think it's as straightforward.
So, would you say then you're more scared or excited about the future?
I think I am a lot more excited in terms of like, because right now I don't feel like I'm doing very much in terms of like, I'm not really achieving that much that I can see like as something that would like change my future.
Yeah.
In a sense. It's like I'm kind of like, my mentality cuts like my prediction for the future kind of cuts off at like graduation from uni.
Yeah, that's normal.
It's like, oh yeah, I'll get a job after uni, but like I can't tell what kind of job I'm gonna get, what I'm gonna do at my job. Like, I think I'm excited because it's unknown, but I'm also, it's like I'm slightly scared that I'll mess up on my way towards the future. Except it's like there's some point of like acceptance where like anything that happens will happen, and it's like nothing, I can't really prevent something that I don't know will happen.
Yeah.
And in that sense, it's like there's no point being scared of the future.
Something that I'm really scared about for the future is like my career pathway. Actually, I'm really scared about the future. Excited too though, because it's so unpredictable. But I'm scared about like basically every aspect. In the near future, I'm scared about getting my wisdom teeth removed because needles. My mom got mad at me the other day for even suggesting to pay for an anesthetic. Yeah, because that was an option. And then she was like, no, you have to face your fears. but I'm really scared about like career because like I'm studying, well, my major's marketing, and then I've got science with like psychology, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I'll be like graduating with. And I just feel like in my, like, marketing is the only thing that I really, really enjoy because it's like creative. But I don't know if there's like really good career progression with that, because honestly, marketing is something that I don't think requires like, I think it's something that can be taught very easily. I think people who haven't like graduated with a marketing degree, such as my brother, he's doing marketing jobs right now. Whereas like it might be a bit harder to get a job in like finance if you graduated with a marketing degree.
Okay. Because I feel like I slightly disagree.
Which part?
Like not being able to kind of break out of like a degree that you're doing in terms of like your career.
Oh no, I do think commerce is easy to like change pathways, but I just think that marketing doesn't offer too much skill for you to be able to do that. Like if you started at any other, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just like hating on marketing right now, but if you started at any other major and you want to go into marketing, it's like easy to an extent anyway. But if you started at marketing trying to branch out to others, it might be a bit harder.
I guess that's true.
I don't know if that's actually true or not. That's just the way that I see it. And also like psychology, that's not really gonna help, because like if I wanted a job in that kind of field, I have to do like my honors too, which I'm not doing. So
I mean, you could decide to do it later, but you don't know what you want to do later.
I could. Then I'd be staying at uni for like, for real, like 5 years or something.
My brother was in uni for 5 years. He did his honors.
Oh, that's good. But I don't think I'm cut out to be a psychologist anyway. I think to be like, I'm really interested in like mental health things, but I think to be a psychologist, you have to be very like mentally strong for this.
I guess.
And as someone once said, that has scarred me, is that it is unattractive to be emotionally unstable. I should get that like tattooed onto me. I shouldn't. But that's what someone said to me. And honestly, I shouldn't even like think twice about it, because they're not even like a person that I'm friends with, and I don't really like care too much about their opinion. But they said that, and it's just made me like really think about, I don't know, I guess like everything about me. But anyway, okay, so to answer the question that I asked you, which was like, for what in your life do you feel most grateful for? I would kind of go on the similar pathway to you, but to be more specific, I would say like having access to like clean, fresh water. It's really like, it's like your first basic need, right? You know, the Maslow's triangle pyramid.
Yeah, it is. Even before food.
Exactly. Like water, shelter, food. They all go in the, I forgot the word. Physiological. Nope, I don't know the word. Anyway, it's something that you like need to survive, but there are so many like kids out there, so many people and like families and countries who don't have this access. And I think like my parents came from Hong Kong, right? So even if I lived there, I would still have that access, but I wouldn't even be able to like drink out of taps and stuff. So like if one day I just got like really hungry, I'd have to like purchase water or something. Whereas like here in Australia, all the taps are like safe to drink out of, which is something that like I really appreciate, because I think if I could change anything in the world, it would be to make sure that every single person has access to this kind of water.
I think that's also, I kind of see that too, because when I go back to Vietnam, like we would literally like buy boxes of like bottles of water, because in Vietnam, I think this is like something in a lot of Asian countries as well. You just can't drink straight out of the tap.
You have to
like
boil it, right?
Yeah, you have to usually boiling it is usually when we just need hot water. I think in Vietnam, like, not as many people drink hot water because it's so humid there.
Oh,
That
okay.
most people just drink either iced or room, like, cold-ish water. And so, like, what I've noticed is a lot of my family just buys boxes of, like, 600 millish bottles of water. It's actually really wasteful in terms of, like, the amount of plastic that, like, they go through.
I was gonna just bring that up, yeah. The fact that, like, so much plastic waste.
I think in a lot of countries they have that filter machine,
Yeah.
but none of my family has that in their homes. So, like, that they only boil water when they need to, like, use it to cook stuff, or when they, like, need to, like, make tea and stuff. Like, I don't see them having boiling water just to drink. But I think, like, it's a habit that's come from my parents. Like, when they came over to Australia, like, I only drink boiled water now.
Me too. I was actually also about to say that too. I kind of feel dirty about drinking tap water, even though I know that it's, like, safe to. But it's also, like, there's, like, that taste.
Yeah, there is a taste.
That's different.
It tastes different.
To boiled water.
It does taste
Everyone
different.
else says that boiled water is weird too, but it tastes better than tap water, okay?
My issue with boiled water is it takes quite a while to cool down. Because I don't like drinking hot water. I like drinking iced. Like, I'm the person that drinks iced drinks in winter.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I have, like, ice cream in winter. Is that equivalent?
Yeah, that's around equivalent.
But, like, we don't have ice in the freezer because, like, you know how, like, those fancy fridges have, like, that ice cube area, like, designated ice area. We don't really have that.
I have that.
Oh, okay. But yeah, we don't have that, so we just have to, like, stuff our ice cube tray with, like, all the meats in it, and it's kind of gross at the same time, so we don't really have ice at home.
So, like, my old fridge didn't have that. Like, it was the old ones before they had the automated ice maker. Like, even my current fridge, it doesn't have the automated ice maker, but it has a designated little area for me to, like, put ice.
Wait a second. Okay, this is gonna sound really, really dumb, but, like, so you pour, like, tap water into this thing, and then, like...
No, I poured boiled water.
Oh, okay, so you...
I got roasted by my parents for putting tap water, because they were like, hey, if you're not gonna drink tap water, then why are you putting tap water in your ice, which will melt in your drinks? So I was like, after that, I was like, boiled water into the ice cube tray.
That's what my parents say too. They say the ice is dirty. Would that not, like, ruin the freezer though? Like, boiling water with, like, minus, what, 8?
Oh no, I don't,
degrees?
It's not right after boiling it, because, like, we have, like, a couple, container pitchers of water.
Oh,
and I just
okay.
use that, like, the cool
same.
down stuff.
Same, yeah, okay. Oh, so you pour that in, and then
Yeah.
you wait, like, a few hours, and you have ice.
And then, like, there's a twisty thing, and I twist it, and the ice goes into the tray. And then, like, I refill it.
So the twisty thing, like, cuts it into, like, smaller bits.
It doesn't cut it, so the tray already has little bits. I love how we're talking about ice in an art.
I've never experienced this in my life. I don't even know what an automated ice... I just know that, like, freezers have this, but I don't know I don't know how it's used.
I don't know how the automated stuff works. I just know you press a button and ice comes out, but, like, that's it. That's all I know. But this one, like, there's an actual ice tray, like, a normal one, like, the ones that you would probably have at home. But, like, it has this little twisty bit, which, like, flips the tray upside down. And, like, it, like, has a little bit of force where it hits something. And, like, because of that, like, hit thing, it will, like, drop ice cubes into the little bucket below.
Okay.
And, like, it collects ice cubes in there. And, like, I make sure that I have enough all the time. My parents roast me for having so much ice at home, but I'm like, I need it.
Fancy, though.
It's fancier than what I used to have, but it's not as fancy as, like, the ones where you, like, press a button and you get ice.
Okay. Oh, I see what you mean. It's, like, on the outside. I've seen those.
Yeah.
Okay.
But mine is on the inside.
Yeah. I think that's, like, my brother's too. And honestly, this one question about what you're most grateful for took a lot longer than expected. So I think possibly for future episodes, we might just stick with like one question or two if the first question's boring. But now we're actually going to get into our proper topic, which is all about can art be judged. So just a simple question, how would you answer that?
So I, just to like, as a preface, I did VA in year 9 and 10 at school.
Visual arts,
I didn't continue for year 11 and 12 because like I just wasn't bothered to do major works. Like it just wasn't my thing. I just did it as like an elective to have fun and like not have all my electives being really intense. So in that time, like I learned a lot about like kind of different ways to look at art. And it's like from everyone's point of view, it's gonna be different. Like if you just asked two people in the same room to look at an artwork and see how they feel, they probably feel different things. So I don't think like art can be judged in the sense that there's like one definite kind of judgment for art. And like I don't think art can be kind of like rated in terms of like good or bad.
Yeah. But also like,
so like,
sorry,
I just don't think like it can be judged in the sense that like you can personally have a view on it, but I don't think it can be judged in the sense that you can give like prizes and you can like put a numerical score to an artwork.
Yeah, because that would be like subjective, right? So your answer is that art cannot be objectively judged.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's really messed up because high school art is marked.
Yeah, because I was going to bring that up. Because there's so many like different types of arts. Like even with English creative writing, that's considered art too. And this topic was actually brought to me when I was thinking about like a conversation that this guy had brought up in the middle of like my business studies class. He basically was talking about like some music award that was happening at the time, like either AMAs, Billboards, Grammys or something. And he was saying how it's a bit like skewed, how there's just a group of people, right, who can just sit in this room and tell the artists and the judges, not the judges, tell like the world and the audience that this album is better than this album. And like even with creative writing, like HSC, you see that art is still judged. Like with visual arts, music, like English too. And they do have like a criteria for that though. So then do you think like, well, okay, so I reckon if I drew a horse, okay, and if I can't draw, which I really can't, and I know it's bad, you know it's bad, and everyone else in the room know it's bad, can I then say like this is a bad drawing of a horse then?
I mean, it depends on your intention though, because there's so many different types of art, like abstract and everything. Like if you wanted the horse to be realistic and like it looks nothing remotely like a horse, then like you didn't really meet what you intended it to look like. So like in that kind of sense, you could consider it to be bad, but it could be like a different form of expression. Like not everyone will see a horse in the same way. Some people will represent it differently. Like there was this section in VA where we studied the human body and how it was represented like in paintings and artworks over time. And it's just like a lot of the paintings weren't actually like realistic, and a lot of the more modern ones aren't like, you can't tell from like first glance that it's a human, but it's like over time you see like the different body parts and stuff. Like it's not, I don't think like just because something's not realistic you're gonna say like, oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Because there's different forms of expression. It's also like, even if a drawing is realistic, okay, so this is a little like I need to give a little background to this. So like on one of my VA excursions we were asked to like draw, I think, 2 things in as part of this assignment, and I drew, well, my first drawing was of wood and the second one was a river view. So basically that drawing of wood was literally like I think we were standing at City Olympic Park. Like, there was these, like, the wooden... Oh, it's hard to describe. But it's just, like, this wooden section.
The poles?
No, it was, like, flooring. But there was this little wooden section. It was kind of old. And, I just took a pretty close-up picture of it. And I took that as, like, my model for what I wanted to draw, right? Like, it was literally straight up, like, I drew, like, lines across the page, and then I started, like, doing the texture of wood, like, with a pen. And basically, when my teacher didn't know how to mark that. Because, like, on one hand, it's very simplistic. But on the other hand, like, it took a long time to, like, get the texture right. It took a lot, like... And it's, like, it looks really realistic, right?
Yeah.
So, like, he asked two of his year 12 students, I think. It was, like, some senior students, to see what mark they would want to give it out of 10, because it was an assignment. They had to mark it somehow. One said to give it a 3 out of 10. The other said to give it a 10 out of 10.
What? Okay. Vastly
because
different.
Someone can look at that drawing and be like, that's too simplistic. That doesn't have any significance to it. Someone else could see, like, a different thing.
Right, exactly. Can I just ask again, what years were you doing this?
Year 9 and 10.
Oh, like elective, right?
Yeah.
It's so different, though, that you actually did something in those classes. Because I also did visual arts. But, like, it was the most, what is the word? It's just a bludge class.
Oh, bludge.
Right?
Oh, that word.
Like, everyone saw it as a bludge class. Because there's this one particular teacher at my school who never gave assignments, right? And would just be like, okay, take the camera, take some pictures outside, bring it back when you're done. Like, and that's, like, the only words that he said, like, during the entire class. I did, like, painting. I did, like, ceramics too. I did, like, some drawing ones, photography. The best one was wet darkroom photography. I think that was so cool.
Oh, darkroom was so fun.
Yeah. But, I mean, I was never good at it, though. I think in, like, visual arts, you know, like, if you take maths, there's always, like, the difference between, like, the best and the worst student in terms of marks is, like, quite different. But I feel like in those kind of, like, creative subjects, like, everyone seems to be pretty good. And I was really just an outlier there, because I have pictures of my drawing still, and I would say they are objectively bad, though. I think also with, like, art, there has to be, like, meaning to it too. And if you're just going to if you're just going to write a poem, right, and it doesn't really have much, like, emotions built onto it, then I would say that that's not as good of a poem as another one that is, like, very detailed, has a lot of, like, techniques to it too. Oh, I guess techniques would make it, would be, like, a criteria for if art is good or bad, right?
I think, like, yeah, that's part of the objective side of judging art, kind of looking at the painting techniques or, like, the drawing techniques that people have used. But I don't think, like, necessarily, like, someone that's just sat down and just had to write something, like, on command without putting much emotion into it would end up being a bad piece of art, or, like, because, like, it could look really nice. It could have meaning to someone else. Like, that's the thing. Like, some images will have meaning to some people, and, like, they won't have meaning to anyone else. In that sense, like, other people, when they do see it, they won't see it as art. But when, like, someone does see it as art, it's very different. Like,
so then
it's really hard to, like, kind of say this is going to be a bad piece of art because the actual original drawer didn't have, like, any intention with it.
Okay, so imagine this then. A whole group of students, they all draw, like, a flower or something, okay? And they're all very, very detailed, except for this one that's just, like, a one-line drawing, a very, like, the most basic kind of flower. And it's all put up against the wall, and it's, like, an art exhibition. And everyone is agreeing that very simple one-line flower is the worst one. And if everyone can agree on that, will you then say that the art isn't good?
No. Because haven't you heard of those like canvases like that are just like painted one solid color being sold for like millions?
I actually don't understand those. I feel, do you understand those?
It's like I kind of get it. It's like everyone can do that, but no one has done that.
So it's about like being different then.
It's not even about being different. It's like for that artist, that was their form of expression. And I just don't think forms of expression can be judged like that. Like, everyone being like, oh, I could have done that too. Like, it's kind of like, you could have done a lot of stuff, but did you do it?
So then I think to add meaning to the art, you have to, you know how like in art galleries to have that little plaque that explains what the thing is and like the meaning behind it.
Yeah.
So if there was that big canvas with just white, and there was one that looked identical to that, but the plaques were different, and one was like very like beautifully written with like very deep, and the other one was just like, I got bored and I thought, wow, life is so bland, let me paint a white canvas, right? So then I think description then adds a bit more meaning and value.
I wouldn't say it. I don't think it would add value. It gives people insight.
Yeah, but then like the people are the ones to judge it.
But I don't think in terms of like, it won't add monetary value. I don't think it will like.
You don't think it would add like monetary value?
I don't think it would.
But then like when you are buying like art, don't you kind of want to know like the story behind it? Like, what if there was like a really nice piece of art, but it was like low-key, very racist?
I don't buy art, that's the thing.
Okay, it was a hypothetical anyway. Like I think meaning would make people want to buy it.
I think like, yeah, meaning would encourage to some extent, but I don't think that the value for different people will be different.
Okay.
Because if something really resonates with someone, then like it would have a lot more value to them. But it would like something like, let's say you had a kind of like, let's say like, what do I have? Let's say you had a pen, right?
Yeah.
To someone it could just be a random pen and like it's $1 or something. But that pen to someone else could also have been like a gift or like linked to some sort of memory, and that would be worth so much more to that person. Like they would be willing to pay that much more. They value it that much more. So in that sense, it's like, I don't think you can just like put a single price on something.
Exactly.
Because it's still the same object, technically. It's just...
It is. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's how people perceive it will change its value of that.
But it won't change
item.
The realistic value that is put out there. Like, you know how like some paintings are like kind of like said to be valued at like certain amount. I don't think that one amount defines it.
Okay. That's kind of...
Because like it's like these different values aren't really publicly like shown, because the value that you see is the value that like critics and stuff put on it, like not individuals. Like it's kind of, the value is something that's agreed upon by like a few people, not all the people.
To be honest, I do kind of agree with you on that. I don't do any like visual arts now. Never really was too into that, but I would say that I'm more into like the writing part of art, because I do write like poems and stuff. Oh my gosh, sorry, it's like no one writes poems. But so I have like these poems and I don't know if they're good or not, and I watched this or I read this like blog thing about like what makes a good poem, and it's all about like technique and stuff, and like I tried to include that in, but the thing is like I reckon if I didn't have that kind of technique in, I would still like it the same amount, because the meaning is still the same to me, right? So anyway, my point is that I guess, like, yeah, I don't think art can be objectively judged then.
I mean, it's like that meme, you know, the one that's like, oh, the curtain is blue. Like, the author wrote the curtain is blue because they were like, oh,
Yeah.
I don't know what color to make this curtain. Let's make it blue. And then, like, school teachers are
No,
like,
I know, yeah.
the curtain's blue. They're sad. It's blue symbolizes for, like, sadness and stuff. Like, it's that kind of thing. Like, whether or not it's intended, it will just be different for different people.
That's what I've always thought. Like, whenever I'm like in English, when we were like studying texts, how can one author just come up with this really extravagant plot and have all these metaphors in there? And like, I genuinely feel like people have just made up things over time and just like added to it.
I think,
because yeah.
Like, I feel like, okay, if we're talking about, like, just in general, the analysis that, like, people have done on works before, I'd say, like, a lot of the analysis still kind of preserves the original meaning. It's, like, I think sometimes when these authors and artists, like, make their paintings, like, they don't necessarily have to do it with the intention of, like, oh, I gotta stick a metaphor in here, like, I've gotta make this represent this, rather than, like, doing it like that. It's just stuff that has come naturally.
So metaphors
in terms
just
of,
come
like,
naturally?
their way of expression.
Metaphors just come naturally?
Like, it's, like, for some, like, they don't have to, like, straight up be like, oh, what can I use to represent this? It's kind of more, like, an element of their past or something that, like, came up when they were writing on, like, and they put that in. It doesn't have to be, like, okay, I'm gonna plan out this story and, like, I have to have, like, 50 metaphors and these are all my metaphors I'm gonna put in.
I guess, like, definitely not every single author out there. But honestly, you know that meme you were talking about? I'm honestly like the English teachers because I love, like, deciphering images, text, and, like, finding, like, meanings to things. It actually started off when, okay, so I developed this really bad habit of, like, bullshitting everything in high school, okay?
I think everyone did that.
And I would just, like, half listen in English. And so whenever it got to, like, the analyzing part, I would just pick out random things and just, like, find, like, meanings to it. Even though, like, I wasn't, like, I don't know, I would just, like, do that. Which is actually why I really wanted to do marketing, because I feel like marketing is kind of similar to that, where it's, like, there's always, like, a hidden meaning to, like ad campaigns and stuff like that, and even like the color, or like when you have events, like the theme of it, there's, like, it gives meaning to the entire
and there's
thing.
like color theory and, like, different colors appeal to different emotions and stuff.
I just
like
find
that,
it really
right?
interesting to like
I kind of see that.
yeah.
I really remember, like, what my English teacher in year 11 and 12. I had her for English and English extension, but I dropped extension, like, halfway through year 12. But basically,
Wait,
she said,
you
like,
did?
yeah, everything that, like, we analyze in class, it's a possible meaning. It's not really, like, a definite thing. Like, a lot of the time when she analyzed stuff with us, she would give us multiple things. Like, it could mean this, it could mean this, it could mean this, or it could mean nothing. Like, she was kind of, like, staying open-minded about it.
Yeah.
Like, she tried to keep, like, she kept all the analysis kind of in line with the overall, like, kind of point that the author was trying to make. But, like, she knew about the meme. And she was like, yeah, I get the meme. Like, a lot of the stuff that we do talk about might not have that meaning. But, like, the essays that we write aren't about, like, exactly... It's, like, not really about what the author did. It's more like how we viewed the author's text, and, like, what we saw the purpose of the author was.
And, like, when you're writing your essay, you can still, like, get really good marks, even if you don't agree with, like, what the teachers taught you or what, like, is said online. Like, as long as you perceive it in this way and you can justify it, then you can still get your marks, right?
Yeah. I don't think this is just limited to, like, creativity, because, like, anything that can have opinions, I think we're deviating from the actual, like, art sense, but anything that is created could be very good, in a sense. Like, even if it's different or if it fits in with everyone else, it still could be very good.
Yeah.
And, like, be worth a lot, or, like, get high marks. Like, in the sense, like, I remember year 11, there was this economics essay that I wrote. It was, like, one of those things where, like, it was an assessment task, and we got the question beforehand, and we got 5 lines on this given piece of paper that we could put in, like, notes that we wanted to bring in to the exam, and we had 40 minutes to write our response. And basically, usually you would put, like, your case studies and your stats in that.
Yeah.
And basically, I think it was something about, like, are free markets good? And I think everyone went to the path to say they were bad. No, everyone went to say they were good because theoretically they're good. But I went and said they were bad. And everyone around me said they were good. And I was like, crap, I'm going to get a really shitty mark. Like, I'm not going to do well in this assessment. But I ended up coming second.
Oh my gosh.
Like, that really taught me, like, it's not about how you see something. It's about how you justify it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's a problem with, like, school students is that I don't think that they're really learning. It's just kind of like memorizing what the teacher has taught you rather than, like, viewing it in your own perspective. Because everyone ends up, like, writing the same thing then, which is going to be boring.
I think, like, in school, like, a lot of teachers, like, go through stuff with you and they really hold your hand.
Yeah, yeah.
And, like, in that sense, like, they're gonna give you a lot of things. I think I got lucky because my teacher was like, analyze this thing yourself. Like, I don't care. Like, it was more like she guided us instead of telling us what to do.
Your English teacher?
Yeah. And I was really, like, happy about that. And I kind of, like, didn't appreciate it at the time because I was like, just give me the answer. I don't want to do this. But now I'm like...
Yeah, that's what people are so used to, though.
Yeah, everyone's so used to, like, just being given the answer. And I think, like, when you're younger, you don't really have any appreciation for that. But, like, now I do appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Especially in, like, the senior years, when teachers actually, like, start to care and, like, you start to care too, you're going to notice, like, exactly what is a good teacher, what's a bad teacher. Because I had a really, really good English teacher throughout year 11 and 12 who would kind of, like, do the same. He taught us, like, I swear he taught us, like, everything there was to know. And I swear, like, when he taught us, I didn't really pay too much attention until, like, I decided to, like, read this book later on that taught you how to, like, structure your answers. And I was like, wait a second, this is exactly what my teacher taught me. And he ended up being, like, one of the best teachers I've ever had, which I'm really grateful for. I swear everyone had, like, a good English teacher, though.
No.
What? When you switched again. When you dropped, I mean.
No, when I dropped, I still had the same teacher. But, like, I've had teachers in the past that weren't that great. I think, like, bringing this back to art as well, I just think nothing can be judged.
I mean, that's why there's, like, reflections, though, right? That make it a bit more easier to mark.
Like, we were told that, like, apparently, like, teachers do look at your reflections when they mark stuff.
Yeah.
And, to, like, kind of adjust their marks because maybe they just didn't see it your way.
Because I wrote this really, like, fancy creative writing. And it was about this... Wait, what was it about? I think it was about this girl whose mom just, like, passed away. All my creatives were a bit, like, sad and depressing. Anyway, so...
we were told to just not include any death.
Really?
Or, like certain topics that shouldn't be put in.
Oh, wow. I swear all of mine... Okay. So it was about this girl who was just, like, sitting on the roof reminiscing about her mum. And there was, like, one part of it where she was thinking back to, like, her counseling sessions, and I was, like, describing the room as, like, it was, like, white walls with, like, a silver border around the walls. And in my head I was like, wow, that's so smart, because it's like a cloud with a silver lining. I think I described it as like fluffy or something. And I was like, wait a second, no one is ever going to pick up on this though. I just feel like I create, and if they just like looked past all of these kind of things that I included into my creative, then they're gonna think that it's just really, really bad. So like I think that the reflection makes it at least somewhat like objective to mark.
Yeah, it like, I think it's like it's like kind of that, you know, the little plaque next to an artwork. It's basically that. Like,
Yeah.
For your creative, it's like it gives the person insight and like puts the like audience in your shoes. And I think that's
so
a
then
really important part of anything that's creative.
Yeah. But okay, if you're saying that the reflection is the same as the plaque, then doesn't that also mean that the price value you've placed on it is equivalent to the marks that you've given? Because then you would be agreeing with me by saying that the meaning gives value.
The meaning does give value. I think, like, I just don't think creatives can be marked either. Like, no matter how much insight the reflection does give, it does help justify marks.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's the, like, definitive, like, way to mark. Because if you know how, like, in senior years, everything is double marked?
Oh, yeah. That makes it a bit better too, though.
Yeah, I noticed that a lot of the times 2 markers will give, like, slightly different marks or, like, quite different marks. Especially in English, like, never in maths, because maths is like, there's one answer, there's working out. If your working out's correct and follows the thing, that's fine. But in English, it's like there's a lot of like disagreements between different people about how good something is and how well it should be marked. I think like we can all universally appreciate like something that's full marks, but I don't think like we can like kind of say because that person is like definitely better than someone else's. Like, that person's work is definitely better than someone else's.
Yeah. Okay, then.
And, like, it's also, if you look in history, like, I feel like there are a lot of artworks out there that are famous because they're associated with someone's name.
Yeah, but I also think that you can also apply that same, like, philosophy to, like, items, like bags or something, where, like, a Chanel bag is so expensive, and a lot of that is because of the brand Chanel.
And, like, I think there was a lot of stuff about, like, I think I read articles before that, like, some brands have been called out for, like, kind of continuously repeating their designs and, like, only changing it a little bit and then slapping their brand on it.
Yeah.
And that gives it value over, like, some actual other designs. And I think, like, it's becoming less and less relevant now, in terms of, like, there's so many dupes out there and, like, brands that have come out with really similar designs without the logo and a different price tag. Like, I don't think you can justify a $3,000...
But that's a bit unethical, then.
It is.
If they just copy.
Yeah, it is unethical in the sense that, like, it's a copy, but I think it's also, like, would you ever be able to find out who designed it first?
Well, wouldn't it be like a group of people?
Like, there are definitely like ones that are actually created to copy kind of a design. Yeah. But there's also like, to what extent can tell, like, is something an inspiration?
Oh, okay, I see. I think there's like a fine line there, though.
It's like,
that's kind of hard to...
Like, there's I think in a lot of, like, those Asian markets, you can obviously see that they tried to, like, change the logo a little bit to make it seem like it's not that brand, but it also could come off as that brand. But, like, I think there are genuine ones where, like, it's just an inspiration for the design, and it's not necessarily exactly the same. Like, maybe that, like, it's, like, recreating parts of that design with different elements, like, putting their own spice into it, but like you would never know as a consumer.
I don't think you would know too much about this, but like the beauty blender was like the brand beauty blender when it came out with the sponge. It was like revolutionary,
I heard about it.
because no one has ever done that before. Everyone before that had just used like a dry sponge, whereas this one you like wet and you blend it in. And now every single brand, every single like cosmetic brand out there has their own version. But no one ever got angry about it, that they just stole this idea. But then when it comes to like other things where like it's where like the packaging either looks the same or like the same kind of colors, then everyone just gets mad about it. I feel like I just don't understand like why some people get mad about this and not that.
I just think like we as consumers will never know to what extent something is plagiarism or to what extent something is inspiration. Like I think I heard about this before. It's like there's a point where like you just don't remember where you've seen something before, but like you put it in your work. And sometimes you would get called out for like plagiarizing something, but it's like I think it's all about intention, but we as consumers don't know the intention of the person that designed the objects.
I don't think intentions really, like, isn't it just like illegal to...
Not everyone will get...
Oh, wait, what are we talking about? Are we talking about like products though, or
products that are being designed? I think that's also like an expression of creativity for some people, for like the designers. I think like it's just like it's not like everyone buys a product after having met the designer and knowing what the story is about. I'd say like some people definitely do that, but not everyone does. Some people just mostly buy it for the brand.
Oh, we also forgot to say to like, comment and subscribe if you're watching from YouTube. I think we were meant to say that earlier on, but also, did you say that Apple Podcast is also up now?
Yeah, Apple Podcast is up now. So like our recording's slightly out of order because this is episode 4, but we haven't recorded episode 3 yet. We're recording it after this, but Apple Podcast recently got reviewed and like it was given the okay. It's gone ahead. We have our podcast out on Apple Podcast now, so if everyone could like rate 5 stars and leave a review, that would be very appreciated.
Or rate how you want to rate it, and then give us feedback on how we can improve, which is honestly really appreciated because I have a friend, his name's David, and he like texted me one night and was just like, hey, I have like a few pointers which I've actually like taken into consideration. So it's really like helpful when you guys like give feedback and tell us like what you like and what you don't like. And with this, we should probably just wrap up our episode because it's getting close to an hour now.
Yep. And so thank you everyone for listening to the 4th episode of this podcast. It's actually been a pretty wild ride now. And yeah, we would just like to give our appreciation to those that have been listening to every single episode so far. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and rate our podcast on Apple Podcasts. Remember that you can message us on our Instagram if you have feedback or if you just don't want to post anything publicly.
Which is 2.friendlessfriends.
And just make sure to follow us there for updates as well, because we do put out reminders there when episodes do come out. And just a reminder of our schedule, this is in Sydney time. Australia, Sydney time.
Oh yeah, we have global listeners.
New episodes come out on Sundays at 1 p.m.
Yeah.
But there is a bit of delay with the Apple Podcast and Spotify release, I think. Because I noticed it last week.
Oh, okay. Also, if you do decide to DM us on the Instagram, both Kelly and I are going to see it because we both have access to the account, but mostly it's run by me. But yeah, I don't know if that makes it different at all.
Yes.
Anyway, so yeah, once again, thanks everyone for tuning in, and we'll see you next week. Bye guys.